Hey, welcome. And listen, I want to let you know you're at Savage Will 1111. It's 11:11 on the East Coast. It's 10:11 in Central. Is 9:11 right where I'm at right now, and we're going live. And the name of this broadcast, I think it's going to be a blessing to you. It's really right on time for everything that's going on in our lives as human beings, and it's about facing it, man. There's some things that come up. There's some things that are happening in our lives that we as human beings we just gotta knuckle down. We just gotta come to that place where we've made up in our minds. We gotta face some stuff, man. We just gotta face it. And so that's what this thing is all about today. That's what this messaging is all about today. Face it. So whatever you feel the most, face it. Whatever hurts you the greatest, face it. Whomever has power over your emotions, you gave it to them, face it. The weight, the challenges in your body, health conditions, laziness, drama, trauma, no matter what you've given power to or what seemingly has power over you, today we're going to talk about you facing it. Face it, face it, face it. So that this thing becomes a part of your past, the end of a controlling aspect of your life, so that you can begin to move on and do some great and notable things with the rest of the days that you have on this planet. Here's a munchable for you just to get it started. Every day we all face an inevitable truth. We're getting older. Face it. What does that do to you? When you know you're getting older, what does it do to you? How does it make you feel? Is there any gain from it? Are there any fears? Do you imagine things good, bad, or indifferent? You, you're facing it. You know, what else can you conjure up to sit at your table when you realize something like this inevitable truth? What can you conjure up? What does it make you feel? What does it make you do? Now that you have thought about it, now that you're being challenged to face it, now what have you made up in your mind you're going to do about aging? How do you imagine your fate? How do you imagine what's going to happen for your life in the next 30 minutes, in the next hour, in the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, the next 10 years of your life? Face it. So, knowing this, that we have to face it, develop a so what boldness in your spirit. Then tear down everything, thoughts, imaginations, fears, worry, break it down, because you've made up in your mind. You getting ready to face it. Face what? Everything that comes your way. Overweight, think about it. If you're overweight, eat less, work out more, step up weekly, monthly with a trainer until you learn more about your body type and how you need to ingest the proper amount of protein and the proper amount of fiber, and manage the proper amount of fats coming in and going out, and carbohydrates. Hydrate more, do more strength training, do more, a little bit more cardio work, and not just cardio work. Stretch, and make sure you're getting some recovery in there. Steam sauna, whirlpool, pool. Face it, deal with it. It's not something that you just accept and allow for it to just tear at your health condition, tear at your mental man, steal your energy, and keep you from being all that you could possibly be. That's part of what facing it is all about. Face it. You know, you have to reappropriate time to face this mess you've made and allow to happen in your life. And some of the approaches to doing that is you got to laugh at some of this stuff, man. You got to laugh at it. Now, other times you got to attack it. On other scales, you gotta determine your outcome and your plan to faithfully and strategically take control away from it over you. That's what part of facing it is all about. Funny, it seems hardest when you start the habit of facing it, because it's easy. It's always the easiest thing in the world to do is to form a bad habit. The hardest thing, the place where you win, is forming a good habit to replace the bad one, and then you've got to deal with that. That can be very tough sometimes. So it teaches us not to listen to our lesser mind. You've got to confront that. When you form that bad habit, you gave it energy, you gave it intensity, you gave it brain power, you gave it emotions, you gave it a personality type. You fed it, you dressed it, you nurtured it, you clothed it with complaints, fault finding, shame, guilt, worry, fear. You gave it a whole community of like minded people that you introduced into your life, people with familiar spirits that can encourage you to stay stuck where you are. You did that. Face it. Now, face it. This expiration date for all this stuff that you've allowed in your life is now. You have got to make up in your mind. I want to encourage you to make up in your mind. I want to make such a compelling argument today to make up in your mind that today, the expiration date for madness in your life begins today. Here, you're going to learn that He renews your life. He leads me along the right paths for His name's sake. Even when I go through the darkest valleys, I fear no danger, for He is with me. His rod, His staff, they comfort me. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord as long as I live. Psalms 23, 3-6, personal. Because I'm facing some stuff going on in my life. You know, I tend to look at and examine my life every day. I like to look at stuff that I got engaged in during the course of the week, and I measure my success not only on a daily basis but on a weekly basis. Did I accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish? And if I didn't accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish, why? You know, what was the fail point? Why didn't I make it? Why didn't I accomplish those things? It doesn't necessarily mean that I failed. It means I'm failing forward. I'm learning how to, and I'm addressing those things that need to be improved upon, but I'm not going to listen to my lesser mind that tries to make me believe that since it didn't happen right away, since it didn't happen instantly, that it wasn't supposed to happen. And well, that's not the case at all. When you're forming a new habit, you're doing just that. You're forming a better habit. Easy habits are the ones that are negative, that destroy your life, that destroy other people's lives and cause you to have to apologize and do other types of things that you're not comfortable doing. Forgive and when you don't really need to or really want to. So when you face something, you think about or should think about what it's doing to your life. And so in the course of my day, in the course of my week, I'll examine what's going on. I examine what's happening to me. Do I like it? If I don't like it, what am I doing about it? But I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to show fear. I'm not going to commiserate over it. I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to stop improving on the better version of what I could be. See, you can change the game. You need to write that down. Just make a mental note. You can change the game. You do not listen to your old habitual mind after taking this seat in the presence of your enemies. You face it, silence it as you build the new you. How? Look at your green pastures. Imagine what your life will be if you traveled more. Imagine what your life would be if you moved to another area and took on another job and started meeting new people. Imagine what your life would be if you stopped worrying about so much. Imagine how your life would be if you started laughing a little bit more. Imagine what your life would look like if you took a little bit of money and start spending it on going out to eat and hanging out with a great friend. Or imagine your life if you call back up some really good friends who were encouraging in your life, not the people that's in your life right now that are associated with your fall. Imagine what that would be. Spend a couple of dollars on a meal with someone you enjoy. Funny, that money will always manage its way back into your life because you're moving on purpose. You're moving in purpose because you're changing the game. You're facing something about yourself and you want to improve it. So I look at the scriptures and I say, creating me a clean heart. And so in that process, I begin to love the process. I begin to love the makeover. I begin to love how when I face certain things, dilemmas in my life, I actually start to get a response on what I can do, how I need to do it, how often I need to do it, and with what resources I need to bring this transformation about with. It all starts to come together. You understand? And so when I create a clean heart that loves the process of making me over, I have to deal with my seven senses. I have to deal with not only my seven senses, but I'm making it more relevant to where we are right now. My spirit, my mind, my emotions, my intellect, my body, the community that I associate with, and my imagination. I when I take a seat at the table in the presence of my enemies, my greatest enemy oftentimes is me, you. And so if I don't grab hold to and know to grab hold to those things right there, spirit, mind, intellect, body, the community of my thought processes and my imagination, I'm surely subject to falling prey and staying stuck somewhere because I haven't addressed those things which occupy a lot of my thought life and have gateways that have been opened to allow for streams of all kind of tantalizing and image causing stuff to flow in and out of there. So, but when I take a seat at the table in the presence of my enemy, and I recognize the first enemy could be me because I open up a gateway somewhere, and then I start the attack. Now, the old mindset will tell you, show you, remind you that you're not getting great results. That's the old mindset. Not enough results. That's the old mindset. Make you feel like the old you. That's the old mindset. And make you pretend through your emotions that you're missing out on something because you're working on something new that's greater. It's gonna make you a better person. It makes you think you're missing out on something. Maybe you should get back on the television and binge watch on something. Maybe you should go get with that old friend that you brought into your life where you were commiserating. That's the old mindset. The old mindset will say to you, you haven't yelled at somebody in a while. You haven't complained about something in a few minutes. You haven't eaten from the plate of woe is me. Neither have you had an entire bag of chips for your psychological loser fuel because you feel like being a loser. You're hiding something that needs to be addressed. That's something that you need to face. You know, you haven't commiserated on the failures of your past, giving them energy to actualize. Your old nature is talking to your old mindset. That's how the old mindset brings stuff up to mess with you. Face it. Face that old man that you're overcoming and give that mindset the middle finger. I can't put them up, you understand, because it's my lifestyle, but give that old mindset the middle finger. But you got to move on. Don't stay there too long laughing at it. It's your ego trap. It's designed to take you back and rob you of years, decades, maybe your life being stuck in an old mindset. You've got to get up and move on. It's your promotion time. I preached on that a long time ago. You got to get up and move on. Finally, at your graduation walkthrough, because you started to face some stuff. You have to shame the destructive you. You've got to judge it. You've got to destroy it. During this Lent season that we're in right now until April 9th, Resurrection Sunday, some people call Easter Sunday, train every new thing that's against you to bow down and stop. Make it the bane of your existence. Bury it and do not allow it to rise again in your life. Destroy it forever. Let this Lent season be about the change order that you're putting in on your mind for your life, for where you're going to live, for where you're going to work, for how you're going to change your body structure, how you're going to change your mental, emotional man, your spiritual man. Make this next 35 days a priority for building the new you. Not just laying off on something that you eat like chocolate or whatever else. Make it more providential, make it more sovereign, make it more strategic. You can change you. Make it face it. Make it face it. Make it your battle cry. I'm going to face me. I'm going to face all my excuses. I'm going to face everything I've ever felt, how people have made me feel. Oops, how I gave people power over me to make me feel a certain type of way, because I valued their opinion over who I really am and what I really know about myself. Just tell you a story. This girl had this man's babies. He loved her till she got pregnancy weight on her and she got fat. The love waned with each baby they had together. Overweight from his babies. Overwhelmed by his neglect and lack of support. Overpowered by the lower self-esteem as she gained more and more weight and less support from him. Overzealous for her children, their children. She obsessed over controlling them. Something, because he showed her very little care, even less love, and then finally he left. Overstimulated led her to become overly intense to do something about herself. She committed to embrace her pain, to make pain her friend. She bound pain up to drive her to train, work out, remembering with each rep, each set, every word spoken and those that weren't, every insulting look, every insulting comment, and then none because he left. Every pound of misery, then hate until the pounds were dropping off. She made pain obey her commands to change. A platform that encouraged another practice and belief system with a new habit. Then she changed her negative self-speak to a language of love toward herself, her family, and others. She created a culture in her mind, in her soul, in her emotion that she could thrive in. New thought paradigms to be reformed by. She created new values to become ingrained in. The new self-culture manifested in a special vocabulary, which in use became a habit which organized her well-being. Her core programming, her mainframing became her safe place to land. Her thought life became a safety philosophy, a manifesto or manual that started to protect, warn, guide, cause her to trust, establish new values, efficiencies, manifest dreams and visions into realities while strengthening her daily activities into joyous walks that turn into accomplishments. Always converting her negative energies into youthful pathways to results, to goals, to affirmations, destinies, which used to appear to be fantasies. She started to get results. Here's a munchable. You have to develop phrases in a suitcase. She developed phrases in a suitcase containing entire conversations about goals, priorities, and ways of thinking into little morsel thought bites. So that once you hear a thought bite, this activates everything she studied and started to believe into. You know, where she put into work to change, to transition, to transform, and to manifest. And she put on the calendar when she wanted to see certain transforming things happening, not only in her body, how much weight loss, not only in her affirmations, what they're going to manifest into, but also how she was going to act and react differently to her family. She realized that once a thought bite is released, it activates the entire transformation into manifestation process. Her suitcase is open. Her container gets unpacked. The contents become strategically placed in the room, easily accessible to her, not so obvious to others, ready to be discarded when growth has occurred and it's time for her to move on. See, she knows with every thought bite, after it's mature and she becomes that thing, then she no longer needs that thought bite in her suitcase. She started to learn that. So she knew that she could learn and grow and learn. And she started to witness it with the pounds and the pounds and the pounds that were being released from her body. So then selfishly, she learned to leave her baggage, old thought bites behind. They came, they can be found and made useful by somebody else. So she would leave them in a place for somebody else to stumble across. If somebody asked her a question about how, then she would give that old thought bite of her how to, and they would be able to benefit from it. So what used to be negative turned into positive, and they became habitual growth bites. And the thing about them is, once you establish these thought bites, they teach, they reach, they position you for something even greater. Once you've grown out of it and it served its purpose, you've trained those who are willing, then they can leave their baggage behind and no longer be encumbered, because you've taught them how to declutter and leave. You taught them how you left your baggage behind, and you keep it fluid, and you're teaching them how to keep it fluid. Man, that's good stuff, man. Here's a munchable. Forgiveness is for you. She forgave the dude. However, she grew to thank him though through the forgiveness. See, because forgiveness is actually for us. But she ended up thanking him for what he had done to her. He actually gave her a gift. He gave her the shovel for the S he dealt her. When she started to shovel that S, she dug up concealed childhood pains, traumas, and dramas, and how they shaped her life and caused her to accept other people's full of S into her life. She'd have never had that shovel had she never had that struggle. And she would have never removed that S if she had never been left behind by him. Once she got that shovel, she began the greatest excavation project in the history of her life. She lost almost 100 pounds. It's real talk. She taught her chaps overcomers values and daily thought bites. She created an environment for them to thrive in. She showed them what an inside out job looks like, and that it ain't always a bad thing to have to shovel S. Her children are living the best life because she teaches and lives the how to thought bite life through the values contained in her suitcase, the values she's organized in her thought bites. And she's built a mental culture and a family culture with accompanying habits for them. They're living their best life. Make face it your battle cry. Then there was this brother. He was going through. He loved his wife. She loved the ideal of marriage, not him. She never exhibited the ability to fully love. It was always gauged and given based on performance. He didn't know that she didn't know it. This dude forsook all others for her. It's what he did. He was he was in shape. He was good looking. He was kind. He was friendly, funny. People never considered him to be a stranger. She dismissed him, rarely showed him any affection, cheated on him literally and by comparison, and taking advice of others' words over his words as her husband. In pretense, they stayed together. They grew to be more or less like roommates. He could never be satisfied. She could never be satisfied with him. It just wasn't in her DNA to be faithful and to respect men. In this particular season of his life, he decided to face it. He confronted her with the entire bag. She registered her satisfactions and dissatisfaction, admitting some stuff and leaving out others because of shame and guilt. He was devastated and conflicted at the same time. He wanted to leave, but he took a vow of man and wife for life. So he began to change his self-image for himself. Here's a munchable. To get the bag, you must eliminate your childhood traumas and drama. Most people's habits have occurred so long that they don't pay attention to what causes it anymore. They don't know where their life stutter has come from or what triggers it. He got therapy to uncover the why, because the acquaintance with dishonesty he had experienced that throughout his life, work and relationships. It was something that he was acquainted with. He didn't know why. He came to realize that he had to reframe his habit loops. He had to create a new routine for self-acceptance, and not so much from those he desired it from, but from those thought lives that he wanted for himself. And he had to build routine that wasn't dependent upon performance. And then he had to create a reward system which acknowledged his progress in accepting himself. Next, he had to catch trigger words, phrases, and actions of those whom he loved, and he had to create a garrison, was normalized abusive behavior and speak that he justified. He had to fix that model and those kind of conversations and how they triggered him and made him drink and made him do all kind of things. He had to face losing. He had to untether himself from these types of people and relationships because his life was too important. He had to come to the awakening. At the awakening, he desired the best, better to manifest. He had to understand that he brought many of these people and certainly all of these relationship types into his life based on his old self trauma drama. Also, it is possible that he could have eliminated some of this if he had agreed to grow sooner than he did. And therefore, he found himself at times craving stimulation, which is the trigger, what causes the trigger. He craved for somebody to do wrong to him because that's all he knew and understood. So he had to create a new cue. He had to create a new, he had to redirect his self-talk, his thought bites. He had to change what he accepted. He had to rewrite his code. Here's the munchable. Create a habit cycle and get unhinged. Reprogram your brain for better responses which benefit you, not in a narcissistic way, but in a healthy way. We must insert new routines to address our cravings. We must search and fearlessly inventory ourselves, then admit to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs, leading to powerful routines, rewards, less craving of stimulation that can ensnare us and easily entangle us. Self-inventory figures out the things that justify your weaknesses and your aversion to success. You can wean off of these. Admitting to someone else all about the bad things and bad habits you've done in a great way is figuring out the moments where you spiral out of control. Being honest in this way addresses the cravings to do devious things. And it also helps you forget about the stuff that causes your hurt. Helps you forget about not needing to self-medicate because of your hurts. You get to face it and dissolve it. Now your confidant, your sponsor, can help you with restraint and cause you to plan for a plan of action to release you from craving drives and habits and desires. Now you can sponsor the new thing that you want to become. You'll have less of a need for craving and cueing over time. You'll be on your way to a faith fit, and you'll be on your way to overcoming. Here's some results. His results. He set his new path in order. He lost weight, started training daily, eating, sleeping, hydrating, enjoying life. He actually started laughing more. got a new job, making incredible money. He started some incredible game-changing projects. He remembered and reacquainted himself with real friends. He got rid of some of the others. The expiration date came. He gained confidence, started traveling the world. Eventually, he had to leave her. Um, and he's living his best life, and she's still in the habit of repeating her cycles of cheating on one man to the next. Face it. Face where you are. It doesn't have to be extremes like these. Your extremes are wherever and whenever your dreams stop. It's wherever and whenever you empowered someone over you, wherever and whenever you stop seeing visions and dreams and hearing in your soul from God, encouraging and compelling and comforting, even commanding you to move forward. Here's some suggestions for facing it. Create a cycle, a new cycle. For me, I encourage you to fast, break down that body, and stop making the body control you. You control it. Pray. There's science behind prayer, spirit behind prayer. People are sleeping on prayer because prayer does change things. Remove the object of your shortcoming. Take back your power, no matter the cost. Replacement therapy. Man, you gotta get some therapy in these broken areas of your life so you can heal. Learn, read, play, pray, train, do intermittent, do daily fasts, 2 fasts a week, 3 fasts a week. Cut off all the binges during the next 35 days. Pay attention to all the trigger words and phrases that come up and cause you to want to react on somebody. Write them down so you know what they are. And let's see where they trail back to. Rejoice over your new mindset. Get a trainer if you don't know how to train your body. Change your body image. Change the community where your thoughts live and the people that's in that community. You'll start to see successes small and great. Then become tenacious about this thing. And you're going to see the changes happening. Then recreate you. Form another habit and reverse the aging, the death dealing processes you've habituated under for so long. Get you back or get loosed for the first time in a long time or in forever so you can start living. Get unleashed. Level up. Check your thoughts. Check your vain imaginations. Check your worries, your fears at the gate. Your eyes, your ears, your throat, your mouth, your touch, your imagination, and your spirit. Those are the gates. Man, check this vain stuff off, man. Check these bad feelings that you have for yourself. Check these words and these feelings. Check the power you've given to other people over your life. Check that stuff at the gates, man. Command yourself into greatness. Write it down. Wake up. You imagine this world that you're in right now. You felt it. You talked about it. You ingested it. You're the creator. So make a new one. Get Westworld on this joker. You're called your body. Change it. Get up. Some people awaken daily asking always for help, never to get up on their own to live. Make a choice. Pick up your mat and walk. There's a story in the scriptures. This man was paralytic. He wanted, in a sense, the idea of being healthy and whole. And these men used to carry this guy around. So this man became other people's burden as well. And Jesus was in a house and he was ministering the word. The house was crowded. Outside the house was crowded. So what these boys did, they went up on top of the roof. Give you a whole new meaning for tear the roof off the mother. They tore the roof off the mother. And they lowered this man that was on his mat inside of the house where he heard Jesus preaching. At the conclusion of the whole matter, Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk. Pick up your mat and go. Get up. So these men, the work, the burden of carrying somebody else, over. This boy picked up his mat and he walked. Time for you to get up. Start up. Create a routine. Pray. Change your mind. Metanoia. Change your direction. Teshuvah. Create a new thought bite library with a suitcase of vocabulary terms that trigger on a daily basis. Some people call them affirmations, whatever you want to call them. Hygiene. Clean up your body, clean up your senses, clean up your self-talk, stuff to listen to, train your habits, get some vitamin D, go outside and take a walk, get some sunshine, hydrate, rest, laugh, go on vacations, live again, move on. Leave those extravagant extramarital lies alone. Everything that harms you and doesn't serve you, release it. Face the pain of it. Face it, but let it go. This means stop people and yourself from doing wrong to you. Stop settling. Face it. This is Savage Willie 1111. My time is up. I appreciate your time. I hope you got something from this. If you did, and just let me know. Send me a comment. You know what I mean? Go to our Savage Willie 1111 Facebook page. Drop some comment action in there. Tell us what it's doing to you, what it meant for you. Subscribe through YouTube or Spotify. Get unhinged, get untethered, get unpacked. This is Savage Will. Man, appreciate you guys. Love what you're doing, and thank you for supporting us. God bless.